What's happening, guys? VenomousFatman here from ShiftedTo.com. I'm here on the BITT, the boys in the tube. I'm sitting down with Richie Branson, the man behind Bring Back Toonami and Toonami's Back Bitches, the songs. If you haven't checked them out, they're on YouTube everywhere. They're on his website. You could download them. They're awesome. So before, we talked about his origins in part one. Make sure you guys go check that out at the beginning of this interview. We talked about anime and everything involving anime and Toonami and all this cool stuff in part two. Check. Now it's time for part three. Now we're going to talk about specifically video games. So Richie, what is it that you're playing right now and why are you playing it?
Still playing Skyrim until I take an arrow to the knee. I'm playing Sonic Generations. I've been on that Mortal Kombat. The new Mortal Kombat is incredible. I've sort of started wading into Street Fighter X Tekken. To be honest, the gameplay really hasn't I haven't gotten used to it yet. It's a little different from the Marvel vs. series or even the traditional Street Fighter series. And still playing Old Republic, man, Star Wars.
Sounds cool. So, E3 just happened not even about a week or two ago. And, we got all these like big games that have been announced that are coming out, hopefully, if not the end of this year, into next year. You mentioned Mortal Kombat, which is done by NetherRealms. So, did you get a chance to check out the new fighting game that they're doing now, which is called Injustice, which is basically like Mortal Kombat with DC heroes?
I've heard about it. I didn't really get a chance to really look too much into it, though.
All right, fair enough. So,
So, Combat DC Heroes, man, that sounds pretty dope.
yeah, it's basically like, again, if you ever played MK versus DCU, which is Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, guys, for all you guys out there listening, it's basically like the same idea and the same type of engine, I guess, that they used for Mortal Kombat, the reboot that they had, but it's all DC characters. And basically, it's just, fighting in like different, DC Universe locations with all these cool special moves. It's a lot darker and stuff. It sounds like a cool idea.
Oh, yeah. Definitely doesn't sound bad at all.
Yeah. So since you are an MMO player, you got a bunch of cool MMOs that are coming out of E3 recently. You got a game like called Age of Wushu, which is basically martial arts and stuff. You got the Marvel MMO that I mentioned earlier, which is basically it's gonna play like Diablo 3, but it's gonna be kind of like DC Universe Online. If you ever played DC Universe Online.
DC Universe was pretty decent. That was really decent, actually. Uh, I kind of wish that they sort of fleshed out the PvP a little more than that, as far as like maybe having more of a story base behind it. But it's good. It's really good.
But my
But
point. Oh yeah, just go ahead.
I tend to be more of a when it comes to MMOs. I love PvP, man. I'm that guy. I like killing people and making a difference, man.
Do you like going PvP more than just like cooperative stuff? Like, as opposed to like something like World of Warcraft or the Old Republic doing raids and stuff, you rather just go into an arena and just fight other players' characters?
Well, I'm more of the type. I like open world PvP, but I like it like sort of like EVE Online. I don't know if you ever heard or played that, but it's completely sandbox, like where you're just a part of this world and it's doggy dog. You have to forge alliances and you basically make the story. If it's an invasion happening, it's players making the invasion. It's not like just some random monsters. And you just got to ally to kill them. You have to group up, but you're grouping up to go against an intelligent adversary that's just like you sitting behind a computer. So I tend to like that sort of atmosphere. It's rare that you see that in MMOs nowadays because it's definitely not user friendly. MMOs like that tend to have more of a smaller subscriber base that are dedicated, as opposed to having more of a mainstream gamer that will participate. But eh, you know, it is what it is.
All right, so kind of blending two things together, both anime and gaming. Obviously, there's a ton of anime-based games out there. I mean, you got Bleach games, you got Naruto games, you got Dragon Ball Z games. Pretty soon, we're going to be getting a One Piece game, which is going to play a little similar to like Smash Brothers and such like that. So, what are your thoughts on games that are based on anime properties? Like, do you have any favorites, or do you have ones that like you absolutely hated because they disrespected the anime? What is your thoughts on anime-based games?
I've always liked every Dragon Ball Z anime game has been well done to me. I love they really capture the essence of it, the fast-paced fighting, darting all over the place. Like they do a really good job with the Dragon Ball Z Budokai series. The one anime-based gaming that I think could be better, and I've always thought that, except back in the Super Nintendo days, is the Gundam. I know the Super Nintendo, they had the Gundam. I think it was Battle Warriors, or it was basically like a Street Fighter but with Gundams, and that
Yeah.
was cool. But I think that a lot of the Gundam games that have come out since the 3D video gaming era, if you will, they haven't really been really true to the fast-paced nature of the combat. I've always wanted to see From Software develop a Gundam game, and I think they have. It's out in Japan, but not here yet, I don't think, based on Gundam Unicorn. But From Software has always done an awesome job as far as capturing fast-paced mecha action with the Armored Core series. So I've always wanted like Armored Core, but with Gundams. You know, like that's a no-brainer. Armored Core gameplay with Gundams, and you're winning just all around. Like you can't lose with that. So that's my dream game is an Armored Core mega game that has Gundams or even like Macross. That game Starhawk is really nice. I love Starhawk. Like I think that the whole transforming mech thing was pretty dope. So I just hope that they continue to make games like that, in the future with the whole mecha. Like I'm a big mecha guy, so any mecha games are really going to be what I like. Hopefully we get some better Gundam games. So.
Speaking of mecha games, because from E3 we got announcements from two specific mecha games. One of them's a collection of older games, Zone of Enders, which anybody who's into robots, has seen or heard of Zone of Enders. But we also got a game called Hawken, which is a free-to-play first-person shooter that's all mechs for the PC and stuff. Would you be checking those games out when they come out?
Yeah, Hawking especially, even though I tend to more like the tall humanoid Gundamish type mechs, but even though Hawking has more the mech warrior looking mechs, I'm still gonna mess with it because the gameplay looks incredible. Like I like it.
Now, let me ask you this because again, we keep going back to Gundam because any anime fan, has heard of, likes or loves Gundam in some form or fashion. So, let me ask you a question. Did you ever play the Dynasty Warriors Gundam games? Because there's been 3 of them already, I believe, on the current generation of consoles.
Oh yeah, I played the first one. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. It captured the essence of having an all-powerful mech that can slay hundreds of enemies at one given time.
It sounds cool, for fans of the series and stuff, but do you think like necessarily they did a decent job for, respecting the Gundam franchise, or do you think like maybe they could take it even a step further?
Not at all. I think they could have did a lot better. It seemed more like it didn't really have any direction to me. Like you can pick any mech. They had all kinds of different Gundam. I think from different Gundam series. I would like to see like a heavily driven, story-driven campaign with respect to any future Gundam game. Dynasty Warriors Gundam to me was a great tribute to the Gundam franchise, but I don't think it stood up on its own as a viable Gundam game, basically.
All right, cool, fair enough. But let me ask you this now. Going on to a different anime series, Dragon Ball Z. There's a Dragon Ball Z Connect game that's actually coming out sometime, if not this year, next year. That was at E3 and they were showing it off and talking about it. So let me ask you, since being a Dragon Ball Z fan and everybody and their mother who has seen Dragon Ball Z goes around doing the Kamehameha, will you be picking that up and doing Kamehamehas to your Connect?
You know what? I think I will, man. It seems like it'll be good exercise, if nothing else.
I mean, it sounds like a cool idea on paper. We just got to hope that it's implemented right, correct?
It really like that. You have to really have to do a lot, especially with Connect. I mean, you got to look at flying. How are you gonna fly? How are all those different elements. Hopefully, they capture it just right, man. I'm really hoping that the control scheme is up to par for something like that.
Yeah, okay. So now, we got past all those series. What's an anime series that you have yet to see get adapted to a video game that you think should get some sort of adaptation and give us like a general idea of maybe how you would do it.
You know what? This anime that I just recently checked out called Needless would make an awesome fighting game. It's actually I think it would make a great addition to Toonami's lineup. Man, Needless is a really good anime series. It sort of has these cats they all have different powers, but I think it would make a good fighting game because you got one guy He's got the power of fire. Another guy's got these crazy tentacles that he can just cut through anything. And you got one guy who's like a Shang Tsung almost, the priest. He can sort of absorb anybody's power and use it against them. So I think you have all the elements of having a great fighting game. Every character is identifiable in its own unique way, and it's begging to have a fighting game adaptation done.
Cool. So moving on from there, let's talk about much more, this console generation, which is, the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and Nintendo Wii. What is it that you're loving about games right now that you're hoping continues for the next generation?
Well, one thing I do really like about games right now is just the overall motion control elements. I really, really like what's going on with the Wii U and how they're implementing like the controller and having its own screen. And I think what that does is it allows for a crazy combination of different things you can do as far as interface goes and even gameplay elements. You can have a map on your control screen. You don't have to always look at the map and take time out of the gameplay experience to look at where you are and go to a different tab to see a map. And just a lot of good things, I think, with the Wii U. I'm really excited about it. I hope it's graphically powerful. It seems like it will be, because if you have the graphical prowess of, say, current generation with the Xbox 360 and PS3, and you have motion control, not done in such an over way. Like, I'm not a big Wii gamer. I tend to like being able to have some sort of tactile control, as far as traditionally, as far as gaming is concerned. So I'm more of a controller guy. But if they combine both of those in such a way where you can do both things, then I think we'll win. Like if you're playing Skyrim and you can do gestures in order to do different shouts with your hands or whatever, something, man. I think that if they combine controllers with motion control, like in a sleek package, like what seems to be the case with the Wii U, we'll be in good shape.
Cool. So let's talk about this a little bit. All right. So, there's been a lot of reboots, a lot of rehashes and re-envisionings of different game properties. I mean, you got Tomb Raider that's getting a big reboot right now. You got Splinter Cell that was recently announced at E3 that's also getting a new installment that looks, different or somewhat different than the previous Splinter Cell games. What do you think about all these game franchises that are getting somewhat rebooted or re-brought back into the spotlight? And if there is a game that you want to have, like, given the reboot treatment, which game would it be?
Streets of Rage, man. You bring it back. Not playing, man. Like all the old school beat 'em ups, man. Final Fight, Double Dragon, Battletoads. Like that's what's missing from games right now. Like we have dope games, but somebody needs to re-envision one of these legendary beat 'em up games, man. I'd love to see that. This year and last year really have been the year of the reboots, man. You had the Street Fighter 4. You had they brought back Mortal Kombat, and that Mortal Kombat was masterfully done. Also, how they redid Sonic Generations, like the reboots have been really good this year. I'm really pleased with the way they're bringing the nostalgia back and giving us a leg up, man. Um, Streets of Rage is one reboot that I would love to see, and I mean, I'm going to say something that a lot of gamers have probably said before, but I'd like to see them re-envision Chrono Trigger.
Yep.
I would love to see them re-envision Chrono Trigger. Like that's my dream is to see that happen. Like, man, they need to do that fast.
I know that game, Chrono Trigger, has gotten so many re-releases. It's not even funny. You could play that game on your iPad right now. I know that, but it would be pretty awesome to see it like on a next gen console.
In graphics, the whole thing.
It'd be awesome. Be pretty cool. So, another question because we're getting closer to the finale of this interview. What is your game right now that's your game of the year up to this point? I know it's still early. It's only like June. We still got a whole half a year to go. But right now, what's the game that's really doing it for you that should be game of the year?
Well, I mean, I really like the latest edition of the Mortal Kombat, the Complete Edition. That's a really good fighting game. Like, I've always been a big Street Fighter gamer. Like, I've loved Street Fighter. I've always just been into Street Fighter. But man, that Mortal Kombat Complete is pretty solid. And I am heavily biased towards fighting games, though, so it may sound crazy. I am so into fighting games, it's unreal. Um, Also, I do like Starhawk. That's a really, 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 really great PS3 release. Like, I think that is very solid. I'm really digging that. Skyrim is cool. Um, I like the expansion that they're about to release with the Vampire King thing or the Vampire Lord thing. That seems like it's going to be a hit.
Now, you said you're heavily biased towards fighting games. So, obviously, big fans of fighting games are going to want to, in some shape or fashion, create their own fighting games or create their own characters and such. There's this program called Mugen, which, has been circulating around for years. Have you ever actually, messed around with it or checked it out? Because I know from reading, some of your stuff that you created your own character or created yourself into a fighting game when you did, was it Richie versus Capcom, the song?
Yes, and that's something that I actually am going to release in due time. It's a whole fighting game mixtape. It's 10 stages with 10 songs. Uh, Richie Branson is definitely a playable character. He's got his own special moves. I actually modeled him off of Sean from Street Fighter 3. Kind of tweaked him around a little bit and made him more of my flavor. But Richie Branson is definitely a playable character, and I actually made that with the Mugen. Like I made that in the Mugen engine. I coded and did a lot of work getting that done. But I've got it. It's playable and everything's done. I just need to do the music at this point.
Do you normally, like on your spare time, do you usually mess around with that Mugen engine, from time to time, like, trying to tweak it or just, just to have fun?
Yeah, Mugen is one of those things. Well, I mean, Street Fighter in general has always not always been very balanced. You're always going to have like overpowered characters in any Street Fighter game that's ever been made. It's like almost like that's their thing. Like there's going to be those wild, crazy characters that you just can't beat. And Mugen is especially true. Like you'll have characters, especially these custom characters people make. Like
The Goku.
man,
The Goku
yeah,
that's in there.
yeah, there's Goku that's crazy. There's all kinds of variations of Akuma that are just unfreaking beatable. Godkin. There's a Mecha Akuma that's like a robotic version that's just completely cheap and crazy. There's a Shinshan that's just crazy hard to beat. So I definitely play around with Mugen. One of the things I've been doing recently with the Richie versus Capcom Mugen project as I've been trying to balance the characters. Like Hugo was just from Street Fighter 3 was just kicking ass. Like Hugo was just so crazy, so I had to tune him down a little bit. I had to give his moves and his grapples less of a damage, you know. And yeah, Mugen's crazy. That's about the least I could say about it.
Awesome. So again, we're coming towards the end of this interview. So what are your plans now within the next couple of months? That's going on with you as an artist, with you as as an otaku. What is it that you got on your plate coming up?
Oh man, well of course I've got the tour with MC Chris and Power Glove, the Monster Hunter tour that starts July 19th.
Ooh,
After that, yeah, that's going to be pretty major. That's going to be very, very, very major. After that, I'm going to go probably into the studio for a little bit. I'm going to do some thinking and really try to take a little break for a little bit and get my mind right. I'm going to start working on my masterpiece. And you're hearing it right now. I'm doing a Cowboy Bebop influenced album. It's going to be a full album full of just jazzy hip hop, not necessarily explicitly about Cowboy Bebop, but it'll definitely be influenced. And any Cowboy Bebop fan's gonna love this project. It's gonna be called the Jupiter Jazz LP.
ooh, that sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, that's gonna be like my Mozart's Requiem, if nothing else. Like I'm gonna put my heart into this, man, and release it on CD and vinyl and the whole nine.
That sounds very, very cool. I definitely, when it goes up, I definitely want to get myself a copy because I downloaded all your music. I thought it was really, really cool. Again, you had me at the Gurren Lagann song. I was in at that point when you released it. But also, you mentioned Monster Hunter. Are you going to be doing any sort of like Monster Hunter, specifically themed rap or any specifically themed song based on the Monster Hunter franchise?
There may actually be something in the works. I am doing an EP that's not necessarily directly Monster Hunter based, but it's actually influenced by the whole theme of hunting monsters, and it's actually going to be me and Mega Ran.
Mega Ran.
Anybody who's into a nerdcore rap, you got to know Mega Ran, man. Random Mega Ran. But we're doing an EP called the Ghouls and Ghosts EP, and we're gonna drop that actually in the middle of the Monster Hunter tour. Uh, that's gonna be pretty dope, man. We got some good songs that we're putting together for that, so hopefully the fans like that. Also, I'm dropping my first, I guess, professional project, I guess you could say. It's gonna be called the or I'm sorry, Nothing Ever Requires Discipline EP, and that's my personal acronym for nerd. That's going to drop July 10th, actually. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm going to be dropping a single from that any day now, so y'all stay tuned for that.
That sounds interesting. So, without any of those projects that are going on or any of the new songs that you're making, or do you plan on actually recording or actually performing during any sort of like, convention that might be coming up or special event aside from the ones that you mentioned?
Oh, yes. I do have a few conventions that I am locking in dates. I can't confirm anything right now, but I've been reached out to by a few conventions going on later this year and even next year. I'd love to hear some Richie Branson anime rap, man. So I'm gonna try to bring it to every single convention that's going on, man. I'm trying to be there. So hopefully you guys will be seeing me out at these conventions, doing these shows. Whatever's going on, I'm gonna try to be there and really give my all because this nerd rap, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm an otaku and I'm gonna be rapping for my fellow otakus. We're gonna take this over.
Awesome. You got to come down here to Florida. That's what I got to say because me and you gonna have to sit down, have a nice ramune, and you're gonna have to perform because you're doing some good things. Sounds awesome. So, any special people or special individuals or groups that you want to shout out before we wrap it up?
Yeah, man. Oh, by the way, I got about 4 shows in Florida, man. I think in late July.
Oh, then
Uh,
yo, nice. There we go.
one South Florida, one near
Miami.
Tampa. Yeah, like the Miami area. I don't know where you are, but
I'm
I'm
in
gonna be.
Miami, son. You know what's gonna happen then.
What is that place? What is the beach? It's
My
something beach, man. It's north of Miami, but
West
it's a
Weston or West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach. There we go. I
Oh,
got a
okay. I hear
beach,
you.
man.
I hear
So
you.
yeah, let's link up, man. But as for special people, I want to shout out my crew, Red Prodigy. That's the production company. As a matter of fact, I got my dude Bamboo with me, in the building. I'd like to shout out, every single supporter out there ever who's ever downloaded a Richie Branson song, man. Every time I get a download, I am stoked, man, because somebody decided to click on my link and say, yo, I'm gonna listen to Richie Branson. So I thank every single one of y'all. I want to thank, of course, my manager Kevin Peli up in New York. We're trying to really take this nerd rap to the next level. Like we're really trying to make this a worldwide phenomenon that even the major rappers got to respect. Lil Wayne's gonna have to respect it. Drake's gonna have to respect it. They're all gonna have to respect the fact that there are nerds who rap better than them, and that's what the game's all about, man. We're trying to get it. I also like to give you a shout out for having me on your show. I appreciate that.
No problem. Anytime, man. You're always welcome.
Oh yeah, man. It's been a great experience, but that's pretty much it, man. I really more than anything, anybody who supports Richie Branson, man, I appreciate it, man. From the bottom of my heart, man. Like this is a dream come true, and I'm thankful.
So awesome, man. So now, before we wrap up, a few things to mention. You got your website, richiebranson.com. That's where everybody could go to download your songs, correct?
That's right. That's right, and it'll be up until Sir Richard Branson decides to close me down.
They can only get it at your website and on your YouTube, correct? They can't get it on iTunes or anything else?
Well, the Nothing Ever Requires Discipline EP should be available on iTunes, Amazon, and a lot of other servicers. So be on the lookout for that. But all of my free music you'll be able to get off of RichieBranson.com. The Nothing Ever Requires Discipline EP, I will be charging for that. But, by you guys buying that, that's going to make sure I'm able to release this Jupiter Jazz LP the way I want it to, because I want it on vinyl. I want it to be just extremely dope. So if you guys want to throw money at me and buy that, feel free to. We're definitely gonna get some great material for you guys later this year.
Cool. And you're also on Twitter. Tell everybody your Twitter name so they could go follow you.
Yes. Twitter at twitter.com/Richie Branson. I'm building an army of followers, and I would more than be grateful to have more people follow me who are trying to get it, man. Any means necessary. Hit my YouTube, youtube.com/Richie Branson. You can just type my name in Google and you'll find everything you need to find, man. I'm out there.
Awesome. So again, thanks Richie for coming on. It was a pleasure. It was a lot of fun talking otaku stuff with you, hanging out. Everything was great. So I'm gonna leave some links in the description box for you guys. You can check out his website, check out his YouTube channel, check out, all the music that he has on there to offer. He's got some great stuff, doing some nice epic things. So again, thanks a lot, Richie. This has been the Bit, the Boys in the Tube, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. From both Richie and myself, stay epic, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon.
Let's go.